Back to relationship topics here. Firstly of all, when I speak about relationships, I first take responsibility for myself. For myself, I don't want to preach to others. I mean, who am I? I'm still learning. I want to offer a service of love, of my gifting, of my knowledge. And if you have questions, please reach out to me so I can see how I can better serve you. So, for me, I'm still learning, like I say. If there is an issue in a relationship, the chances are that you gave what you thought the other person needed, and it was not their request at all. So let us start with a man, because in a relationship, if you truly serve, if you truly determined the need of that person, then you can serve them well. Otherwise, both of you will give and give and give, and it will never be enough. You will just feel like, yo, what is going on? So, what is going on is that you are giving, yes, you're doing everything right. You just have to be clear on the other person's primary need, because needs differ. And so, put a man first, because a man is the leader. Without truth, you can watch a society that is chaotic means that the man is absent, that there's no truth. Men get so discouraged. Why? Because they're trying their best, and they do not get the message that, hey, we appreciate that. What they feel is that everyone keeps on asking, keeps on adding loads and loads and loads of responsibility on them. And it just gets too much. And then he asks, well, am I a failure? Am I not good enough? Because my patience has been tried to the limit. I've given, I'm exhausted. I can't do it anymore. So that is what a woman should always bear in mind. Number one, a man is always trying his best. Before you ask, before you request anything, can you consider just for a moment what he is doing? He's working hard to serve you so that he can have enough money, so that he can have a house, so that he can be your hero, so that if the economy goes to crap, he wants to fulfill your dreams. His biggest dream is just to see you happy. And if you say, next, I'm not feeling this and I'm feeling that, then it's like, oh my vision and aim today is just to speak about marriage and relationship topics. So, the relationship between a husband and wife. Thank you so much for asking, because that is also very needed in society. Once we can have a healthy relationship of love, society will benefit. And as adults, I don't want to put blame on anyone. My question is, what can I do? Where can I start? And this is the answer. If you are a woman, you start by not focusing on you. You ask, what is it that that man needs? That should be your focus. That should be your aim. And like if you were a firstborn child, you've grown up very, very responsible. If you are a middle children, remember it's man in context. You have to think of all the factors that comes into play with every person. Otherwise, you are not yet a master of the service, of love, of trust that you seek to bring into a relationship. You're coming in from a point of need, and that is very dangerous. It will determine the success or the failure of any marriage. If you come in as healthy, how can I serve you? Then you will be happy. So now focus on the serving, focus on that need to have it clear in your mind. Put a ribbon somewhere in your room or something in your kitchen so that every time you can see, oh, this is a reminder, this is my aim. This is the person's need that I am serving. So, like I said, with men, to remember that they are always trying their best. So, what does that mean? When you look to him, you should just say, "Oh, thank you. Wow, man, you're doing great. You are doing great. Hear me, please." Because otherwise, when you say, "Yeah, I'm not feeling happy," then you say, "Oh, you've tried your best, but sorry, you're still failing." Then he's like, "What? This is crazy." No, that's it. I'm giving up. I'm out of here. You see the danger of that? And so we are going to also further see that it doesn't also only mean that you give the idea that, man, thank you. I don't need actually anything from you because you've already made me perfectly happy. When you can grasp and really, you can go through the motions, you will catch you. But it's good to be caught because then you learn how to serve more, how to be, you see, like, oh, okay, there's either some point of unbelief here on my part, which is a sin, or there's selfishness. It's not in service. So then it's like, okay, so that's how I can correct it here. So what a man also needs is he wants you to trust that of course he wants the best for you. So in other words, if you're asking him, am I fat? Then it's like, oh my goodness. You see, he is not. You should own your beliefs. If you believe that you are fat, ask yourself, why do I believe that? What happened to me that I caught that virus to think, to believe in unbelief that I'm not good enough? Because what is your worth? Like if I love a guy, I'm like, oh, wow, he's just perfect. His efforts are perfect. What he's doing is so perfect. And so now, if that person that you hold in perfection tells you, no, I'm not good enough, please help me, then it's like, I thought you were perfect. What's wrong here? Don't diminish yourself. So that is what a man wants to tell you. It's like, hey man, believe it. What is your worth? Your worth is the value that the divine paid for you. He paid for you himself. That is your value. It means you are like the divine, and yet you are not the divine. He's the source, the beginning. So put him first. Just say thank you. Wow, that I was worth that much in your eyes. Can you see now? If you tell the divine that he is worthless because he paid for you with his life, and now you don't believe in what he was willing to pay. The person that buys you, they determine your price. That's it. May it settle this forever. That you will believe now, I am so worthy. Please forgive me that I didn't believe exactly this face, exactly this body. This is who I am. So now, how can you say thank you as a woman? You can say, okay, so what can I do about that? I can go and do my hair to say thank you. I trust that. I want to add value to myself. That is an act, a step of faith. Because what you value if you add value to it, you are taking faithful actions. That is showing the divine. Thank you. I believe in my worth. I believe in what you paid for me, in what you saw. How can I increase what you gave me? Not how can I doubt? How can I put it down? No, man, yucky. Let's all be done with that. That is something that women and people with self worth issues, especially, have to understand. So, okay, back to sister, please try to be simple. My all people in my office um, are listening too. It will be much appreciated to be simple. To be simple. Okay, so you want me to be simple? In other words, to be quick. Is that what you are trying to say? That okay, so I'm making it too hard perhaps. So a man wants to know that his efforts are appreciated. It's like a dad when he gives and he gives and he gives of his time, of his finances. He comes home tired, he's done, and now someone comes and say more, 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 more. Then it's like, hey, when is it my time to be served, to receive that appreciation through a cup of tea, through some nice food, whatever. Just make him feel like, oh, okay, it's your time to rest. Relax now. We appreciate you. You've been the hero for the day. That is what will tell a man, hey, your work effort is highly appreciated. And there are other things as well. So that's number one. So that is why it says, serve one another greatly in love. That is what the Bible says, and that is what I am talking about here. As a woman, think of what your man need first. And most of the time, 60% of males, that is what they need. So also, and this is from John Gray, the book Men Are From Venus, Women Are From Mars. I love it and I use it often. And let me also see, not so quickly, but smoothly. Okay, thank you. So yeah, to also believe that a man wants the best for his partner. So he wants you to believe in yourself. That's the best gift that you can bring to a man. He wants you to own your beauty because that is what God gave you. That was what He was willing to settle for. If a man says yes, his yes is yes. He's not a people's pleaser that would go, yes, yes, I promise, and then he says no. No, that is the amiable types are like that. It's a weakness that they still have to overcome. They have to please the Lord more than people. That is how they overcome people pleasing. Because all of us start with a gift, but we have to develop a weaker part. And we do that in a relationship with another. It asks us for our weakness to become our strength. So if you think a marriage is easy, think again. It asks that you die to yourself. And every time there's an issue in a marriage, it will show you where you are not yet dead to self. And so, for a woman to know that her man is trying his best, you just have to know that. Always come from that viewpoint, from that foundation. So make a note, put it up somewhere so that you will always be reminded of that. And when a woman has a positive belief in her man's abilities, in other words, when she tells him, wow, man, you are already a success. Wow, you're already making me happy. Then he's like, oh, thank you. I'm accepted. I'm trusted. Finally, I can breathe. I can start to relax. He feels then as if his efforts are rewarded. And you can also think of asking him, In which way can you be thankful? In assisting him perhaps in his job so that he isn't overloaded by all of those things that he needs to do. But at times, perhaps you are not as gifted as, say, for instance, the secretary that is helping him. Then asking, okay, this is my abilities. Let's figure out how I can serve you with thanks, just to say thank you for serving me with your abilities and capabilities. Because remember, we are like two pieces of a puzzle. The Lord said He made man, male, and female. That is the one. It's two opposite parts. And you only can be happy if you ask, what is your need first? And the other person does the same. In that way, when you're dead to self, together you're a whole. Together you are happy. So be clear on the needs of other people. If there is an issue, people feel that their specific need has been misdiagnosed. How many needs are there in the world? There's millions. Some people need appreciation, some people need trust. So be very clear, very specific, so that you can serve according to need. When you do not look at lack, at what is against us, you start to work for, okay, what do we have? Where can we start in serving so that we can add value? When you add value in service, that is when you deserve. Serve to deserve. If you feel like you've been serving your whole life, but you haven't deserved, that means that you didn't own your value. Like we said before, if you do not believe that you are as priceless as Christ, because He died for you, that's your price. You are as the divine, but He is the source, He comes first. You are not the divine, He is. You come from Him. When you understand that, you can only give thanks for your worth. But it's easy. Amen. Hey, praise the Lord. I agree. It's easy to say, yeah, I believe it. But then you go to others and you complain and you say, they must tell you what you are worth, which shows that you didn't believe it in the first place. So, when a woman believes in her man's abilities and in his intentions, like for instance, he's trying his best and his intentions are to please you, to make you happy. And now you come with, okay, yeah, but I want more, or yeah, but you're not doing it like this. Then he will be like, women, you have got issues. So just be aware that you need to give the message across that his abilities, exactly like he is, it's more than enough. That's everything that you want. And also that you see the intention, that he is trying his uttermost to give you what you need. So then you should actually just say, thank you. What can I give back? Now, I have made the mistake of not, I was so unsure because there were so many factors that I was unclear. Is this guy specifically after me? Because in my mind, I thought, okay, this and this and this is what I expect, what I think of. But when I said, okay, this is what I assumed, then that person said, okay, but remember this and this and that. So you have to gain a background understanding to hear where the other person is coming from and to acknowledge that. If you're caught up in your fear, like most women are, it's like, prove to me, prove to me, prove to me. Because what does that show? Unbelief. Where there's unbelief, you are sowing according to the flesh. You will reap chaos, disaster, lack in any relationship. You have to understand, hey, I'm priceless. What am I going to do about that? Don't expect it from him. Start to go to gym. Start to dress nice. Start to look like the success that you want to be. That is how you are telling the divine, thank you, I've got it. I now know my worth. I don't expect it from my husband. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help him. You have to come from a place of belief. So, then also, his first primary love need is fulfilled when you believe that, okay, wow, he is already trying his best. Wow. So, how does that reflect back on how I am dealing with this relationship? If I want assurance all of the time, perhaps because he's not here, perhaps because of this or this or that, then you have to communicate. Listen, I understand your effort. It's perfect. You are really doing everything that is best. I am, this makes me unsure. Whatever that is. For me, it's nothing. For me, most of the time, I discover where I am in unbelief or in selfishness, where it's about me. And then I have to own it up for that relationship to be restored. Because for a long time as well, I just want to communicate that as well. I thought that my truths didn't matter. That is background information that no one knew. How can a man know that unless you communicate it? How can you communicate unless there is direct, open communication? Must you now tell the whole world about everything you have been through? And to never hear, okay, I get you, I understand, now get over that, move on. So you see, there were certain things that happened in my life where I felt like, don't speak the truth. Your truths will be denied. You will be rejected. You'll be scorned. You will be thrown away when you speak truths. And that is most likely a fear that many women struggle with. So you have to have that background information. She is terrified because she doesn't know how to ask a man. Because now she knows, okay, she should always be happy. She should always make him believe that what he is doing is exactly enough, his abilities. So, what of those moments when she's just weak in faith, where it's like, Lord, help me in my unbelief, please. Today, I am in a bit of a stretch in this area. If she doesn't have that trust, that you know this is difficult for her, that is how we will know others is speaking truth. That is a very, very interesting topic and question. You can track their track record, their past. When they said yes, was it yes? Was it no? And if that is the case, you know that you have to do with not unbelief, but fear. Fear makes people say yes and no. They are pleasing people because, and it's not um, like you don't want to make them a victim. They have to own up that, listen, I've pleased people instead of pleasing God. But when you've been rejected your whole life by people, you start pleasing them to be accepted because fear of rejection is the number one fear that all people have. And we, as the body of believers, want to be people of faith, not of doubt, of courage as well. Because trust, confidence, that is what we are speaking of, what we need to demonstrate. And women are often weak in this area, that they doubt their worth. But now, today, if you know that, change it, own up. To say, okay, I am just as I am acceptable. But then you also have to consider, if people are like blind in one eye, can you imagine that they will struggle more to think that, wow, okay, I am accepted, I have to believe it, I have to give it to myself. So, how can I start loving myself when I have only one eye? I have to comfort myself because God already wants to comfort me. I say to him that I trust that he wants to comfort me by by comforting myself, by saying, hey, own up. Now you've got a weakness. Your one eye is blind. What are you going to do about that? And then you say, okay, well, it's difficult. Yes. So what? There's something. There's a lack in all of us. There's a weakness. How can you be courageous with that one eye? How can you be trusting? How can you be strong? Then by asking these questions of, okay, how can I empower myself despite this weakness? From there you can start. Otherwise, you are coming from blame. Lord, you're not helping me. Lord, why? You're coming from ungratefulness. And that is sowing according to the flesh. You will not reap an abundance if you do that. So that is just one example of a woman that may doubt her self-worth. So now you can understand more that one day, say for instance, that day she heard, hey, someone said to her, oh, you look ugly with just one eye. I'll answer that one now. Why people just listen but they don't understand. I'll answer it just now. I just want to finish on this one. Thank you for all of those questions. It makes all the difference. So say for instance, a woman comes to you and she says like, oh, today I'm feeling down because that day someone said to her, oh, you're ugly. Why don't you look like all of us? So that day she wants you to say, hey man, I love you. I'm here for you. Don't throw her to the wolves now and say, oh, you are ungrateful. Why can't you see what I'm already doing? If you don't know that she was despised that day. So you have to consider all of these factors. Trust a person. Listen to their need. Don't think about your need. Like, oh, I'm giving, giving, giving. Well, she is trying to tell you what she needs, but you aren't listening. You aren't in service. You are in self. And that is the thing. Women struggle to be assertive. They struggle to say, hey, I am worthy, my needs matter as well. Men are sometimes so assertive that women just believe them. If a man says, hey, stop asking me to tell you you are beautiful with this one eye, but he doesn't understand what she's been through, then he is also guilty of not considering her needs. And that is what we need to understand as well. So, why do people not listen? They listen, but they don't understand. It is because, like in this instance, if you tell a man, please encourage me today, I can't, he can't see that you can't see. That is what happens mostly in relationships. He's just thinking of his needs and he sees you now as, oh, she is demanding more. So, but he isn't considering that you are blind, you've been attacked that day, you just need love and encouragement that day in human form. And so you also don't need that he is coming from an overload, that he didn't sleep, that his stomach was upset. And now, instead of supporting him, you say, help me, I've been wounded. And that is what we find in marriages. That is why people listen, but they don't understand. If you say, oh, I'll help you now, but can you please just consider this? My stomach is upset. Then it's like, oh, okay. He wants to help. He wants to encourage. It's just that he's already been in overload. And then anyone is reasonable and they will try to help and assist as quick as possible. But most of the time, people are not clear on outside factors, they are not clear on the needs of others, they judge them. And that is why people listen but don't understand, because we think everyone is like us and they are not. God made man and woman different, and together, when they care more for one another than for their own needs, that is when there is a success in marriage. And it's easy to say, okay, yeah, now we understand it, we are going to do it. Wait until you are tested. Then it's like, wow, really? I've been giving for years now. And now the first time I have a need, I'm dropped, I'm blamed, I'm accused. So do you understand that that is what people are dealing with? Both a man feels blamed when a woman just says, oh, my eye is, I've just had a rebuke. Someone told me how ugly I am. She doesn't always give you that background answers. She wants you to trust her when she says, please encourage me. But a woman must be careful how she communicates it. Otherwise, she triggers a man's insecurities. So we're discussing this because it has to be in service. Service is understanding the whole perspective, the whole need. And that is what you have to do in your marriage, with your kids, in any relationship, in any business. You have to be clear on the needs of the others and factors that you haven't taken into consideration. That is true service. And in that purity of service, of the heart, where it's not about you anymore. Because with the Lord, He demonstrates His love all of the time to us. The question is, are we receiving it? For instance, if I tell you, here is a gift, this is your gift now, then you're like, oh, no, I don't think I'm worthy. God has given you this gift. This gift is called perfect love, full acceptance of you, no accusing voice. If you believe it, you'll say, oh, thank you. Okay, so there is now 50 Rand on it. What are you going to do with that? That is what God is asking you. That is the success of any relationship, of any business, is to be wise, to be a steward. So now, in the case of a husband and wife relationship, you have to say, okay, what are the crisis factors here? So, say for instance, someone complained, then first address that complaint. Make them feel valued again. Don't say, oh, that is such a difficult customer. I wish they can go away. They're so ungrateful. Is that service? No, it's not listening. It's thinking of yourself. You've just lost your $50 because you weren't a good steward of what you were given. That is how it works in life, how it works in any relationship. So you are also the gift that God brought into this world. So how are you empowering yourself? You are this bank card. Look at what you've got. What can I do with this? Determine what you've got. What is your gifts, your capabilities, your competencies, your skills? So for a long time, I thought, what was mine? I just love people. How can I get paid for that? You know, that was the greatest gift. You have to trust that if that is what God gives you, then He knows better than you. So trust Him, act on it. That means now you're stepping up in faith. Faith is trust and confidence. And then with that knowledge, when you know, you act. So a lot of people are hampered. They are drawn back by limiting self beliefs. And that is a real factor. You don't always know the limiting beliefs that others help. If they are not telling you, it's a sign of fear most of the time, or of pride, or of lack of feeling safety. But sometimes people come into your crowd and they've been so wounded, you can't expect them to suddenly trust you. Trust is built through being faithful every day, through really listening, not thinking of yourself, what you need. In service, there is reward. And that is the same in relationships. Do you have any other questions? Please, I'm here to answer. I'm here in service. I hope you can see that. So, if there are no questions, please don't be fearful to ask questions. For a long time, I've been fearful, and no one can help you unless you ask. I'm not here to condemn, to criticize, to judge. I want to make people feel valued so that they can believe in their worth. But I also want men to know at that day exactly what they have are good enough. They are worthy to receive thankfulness of their effort. Because a lot of times, what men gave was their best. What they thought was the best. A woman also gives what she thinks is the best. But can you see the miscommunication in that you weren't clear on your needs? You must sit down and determine what is it that your community needs if you are in a church, or if you are in a relationship, or if you are not in a relationship. There's also a factor. Let's discuss that and then I'll close. So, say for instance, you are single for far too long and you don't know why. It is likely because you do not trust your worth. You are doubting who you are. You are seeking a relationship to tell you that you are worthy of love. And that is not how God, the divine, works. He says, trust me, act on that. That is faith with actions. That is real faith. That's faith in reality. So then, when you say, oh, okay, I'm already worthy of this, then your love will show up. But it also says, have a vision. So write to the Lord your dreams. Ask and you will receive. Ask shows trust. If you just remind the Lord of everything that you do not have, how are you being grateful? Have you looked at what you've got? Have you said thank you for that $50? Did you do your best with it? Or are you saying, oh, this $50, who wants that? It's not enough. Hey, then God won't want to reward you. You see? Be very careful. Are we grateful? Are we in belief? When someone tells you, okay, there's $50, go and use it. And you don't say, oh, thank you, I'm going to buy something with it now. You just say, no, I don't believe you, thank you. Doesn't help me at all. Then have you acted in faith or in doubt and unbelief? Fear. That is most likely the problem today in our society. Thank you so much for listening, and may you be blessed. Thank you. I really appreciate that you show me also that you appreciate what God has placed in me. That is the way where we can help one another and can build a bigger community where we just serve one another with the gifts that we've got. The thing is, are we starting? Because only when you start with whatever you've got, there is seed in the ground. How are you using that $50? If you've lost your abilities, your capabilities, your skills, it's likely that you weren't thankful, or that you didn't believe the reward. You didn't see it. So go and ask, make a list of, what do I have that I can be thankful? Start from there. If you feel that you literally have nothing, there must be something. Can you see? Can you smell? Can you hear? Can you taste? Can you touch? Those are things to be thankful for. Do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have a house? Start to give thanks. Now, what can you do? Think of something. In that way, you are using the talent He gave you, and you will have more. Thank you. Be blessed. Bye bye.